Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Tech Talk. We're just going to wait a little bit before I introduce our host today and let everyone jump on board. We will be recording today's session, so if you need to duck out early, that's fine. We will have the meeting recorded on the website for you, so it won't be too long.
Hello, hello.
Hey, everyone. I'll just ask if you refrain from turning on your video. We're just waiting for everyone to arrive, and then we'll jump into the meeting today. Okay, let's get started. So today, I'm pleased that we're able to have Mick with us from Calxa, and he's going to be talking to us today about Calxa and how it can help you and your clients, and also just problems out there in the industry that can be solved by solutions like this. Today is the last Tech Talk for the year, so I'm glad that you could join us. Remember that all other Tech Talks are recorded and posted on the AAT website in the members area, and we will record today's session. Any questions that you have for Mick during the session, just write them down in the chat area and I'll make sure to field them to Mick during question times. So Mick, welcome. Take it away.
Okay. Let's see if I can figure out this technology.
You can use the green share button at the bottom.
Yeah.
Choose the screen you'd like to.
Does that work? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, good. Welcome everybody. So I'm Mick, and what I want to do is talk about some things you can do to keep your customers. You may have noticed that other people want them. And I'm trying to figure out my, sorry, I've got multiple screens here and I don't, technologically uncoordinated this morning, sorry. So competition, other people are looking for your customers and looking for your job, basically. Accountants are one of them. Many accountants are responding to the reduction in their compliance work by expanding into the bookkeeping area and selling that on the basis of doing a full service of everything from data entry up to and including the tax return. There's always been backyard bookkeepers around, and I suspect to some extent there always will be. Bodies like the TPB will do what they can to stamp them out, but there's always somebody's cousins, sisters, aunts, brother who will do a cheap bookkeeping job if you really want them to. And then there's the changes to the systems that we work with that automate much of the work that bookkeepers used to do, streamlining things, making things more efficient, and general improvements in processing, so that in some ways there's benefits to that efficiency, but the question is who gets the benefit. And I think some of that is what enables people like accountants to then come and say they can take over bookkeeping because they're using those systems. Other people get the impression they can do everything themselves. And then finally, I can go to Fiverr, I can go to Freelancer, I can go to Odesk, and I can find somebody who will do a BAS for me. And quite possibly, they're quite competent bookkeepers and accountants. There's a lot of people in the Philippines, in India, who've done university degrees in Australia, learnt about the Australian tax system, understand it, and can quite competently fill out the paperwork. But they're not registered, they're not up to date with BAS, they probably haven't done a lot of study since they did their BAS, since they did their degree and went back to whichever country they were from, but they're out there competing for your work. So I guess the question is, how do you protect yourself from this? How do you make yourself indispensable to your customers? And somehow you have to provide something more than any of those other people can provide. And one solution is to provide them with better management reporting. But I think just providing reports alone, while it's a start, it's not enough. I think those reports need to be accompanied by a discussion about what they mean, what's in them. So I think it's about starting that conversation with the client about what's happening in the business, and so that you're guiding them to improving the business. I personally hate the term advisory. Back in the olden days when I had a bookkeeping practice, and this is probably long before most of you were born, but I did have one. But I would never have considered myself a business advisor, because being an advisor implies some sort of expertise. And I was no expert in how to run a hairdressing salon, how to run a motor mechanics business, or a baker, or anything. That wasn't my area of expertise. But what I could do is look at a set of financial reports and understand what's in them, what they're telling me. And I think that's the key. It's using the expertise that you do have to prompt your clients to think about what's happening in the business. And if you've got a set of reports that shows a cash flow forecast, it may be just about alerting them, look, if we carry on the way we are going, there's going to be a problem with being able to pay your super next February. So what can you do about that now? Can you increase your income? Can you defer some costs? Can you reallocate something so that, can make changes in the business so that you don't have that cash flow problem? Or if you can't do that, can you get funding for it in advance rather than leaving it to the last minute? Looking at their profitability, just budget compared to, so actuals compared to last year even. If things are going better, do they know why they're going better? Have they thought about whether they can do more of whatever it is that's going well? If things are going worse than last year, why is that? What are the big expenses they have? Wages is, a major expense for many businesses, but how does it go in dollar terms, but also in percentage terms compared to turnover? If turnover is increasing, you expect wages to increase, but are they in alignment? Do they have a revenue problem? Is the solution to that to increase sales, to increase prices, to discount, to collect the money faster? I think the key is you don't have to have the answers. What you need is some good questions, and it's about looking at that information, picking out 3 questions, and I think 3 is a good number. It's a good number to start a conversation with the client, and you'll have different relationships with different clients, and some of them, it might be a 5 or 10 minute conversation every month over the phone. There may be others where you go on site and you sit there for an hour and discuss with them what's happening, and that will change over time. But I think if you start with just 3 simple questions, just to make them think about what's happening. So you look at the reports, they look at the reports, and then discuss what's in them. Now, funnily enough, I've got a great application that will help you produce those reports. So let me show you what we've got and explain how it works. So for those who don't know, Calxa has been around for forever and ever. As Calxa since 2010, and I had another product that I first did with MYOB back in 2000. So I've been doing this reporting stuff for a while, and it's constantly evolving, constantly changing. And the last 12 months, we've worked on moving from our old desktop application, which some of you may or may not be familiar with, to now having everything online in the browser. And essentially, we have 2 variations. So Calxa Express is the simple one for those who want to get started. Calxa Premier is for those who need more advanced, more complex stuff. So in both of them, we've got a lot of choice. We don't believe in just giving you a set of dozen reports and saying this is, take it or leave it. There's 120 something different report templates. There's charts, there's numbers, and different variations on each one. You can do a cash flow forecast month by month into the future. And we do a lot of the hard part of that for you. So if you've ever done a cash flow forecast in a spreadsheet, you know that the hardest bit is calculating, things like GST, debtors, creditors, the bank balance itself. And we do all that for you and make sure that it all matches with the balance sheet forecast and the P&L forecast. You can be up and running in just a few minutes. Our sign-up process takes you through connecting to your, what do we connect to? We connect to Xero, QuickBooks Online, MYOB Essentials, and MYOB AccountRight. Excuse me. And then you can do multiple budgets. You can do scenario planning. So if you've got, you can do an optimistic forecast, you can do a pessimistic forecast, and use that as part of that decision-making process with your client. My slide there says there's 15 KPIs to choose from. I think there's actually 17 the last time I looked. And you can put those on charts. You can put those on reports with numbers. And they're typical sort of accounting ratios, debt ratio, average debtor days, average creditor days, wages to turnover, gross profit margins, those sort of things. So standard stuff, but useful stuff for giving you insights into what's happening with the business. Now, report bundles are one of the key features of Calxa. The idea is that, we give you all that choice, but once you've worked out what reports you want, you put them into a bundle for each client, and then delivery becomes easy. It's just one click to generate the whole bundle, or you can create a workflow that will update from Xero or MYOB, bring the data in, and then email you a copy of the reports and email the client a copy of the reports. Calxa Express is $30 a month for the first organization, but you'll notice it says in brackets they're $39. We've got some price changes on the 1st of January, so I just want to make you, by the time you do 30-day trial. You'll be on the January prices probably by the time you start paying us money. But the idea is that once you're set up and running, it's easy after that. Now, before we go and have a look at the software, I'll just talk about Calxa Premier and some of the differences there. You can do reporting and budgeting by cost center. So that's tracking categories from Xero, classes from QuickBooks, jobs and categories from MYOB. You can also consolidate multiple companies. You can rearrange the rows in your accounts, so you're not restricted to the chart of accounts from the accounting system. You can create new headers and drag details across to them. And there's a report designer where you can add and remove columns, put your logo on the reports, that sort of thing. You can create your own KPIs in Premier. And yeah, bundles and automation work pretty much the same, except, you've got a few extra reports for the cost center stuff and the consolidation stuff. So pricing from January is $170 a month, and that gives you 5 organizations, whereas the express price for $39 is your first organization. And after that, it's $10 a month if you want to add an extra company file on top of that. Yeah, so I've mentioned that already. Integrate with Essentials, Account Right, QuickBooks Online, and Xero. Let's go and have a look at. Here's one I prepared earlier. Yeah, let's see if I can drag this across onto the right screen. And so, don't want that. Do I? Let's go to my dashboard. So when you sign in, after you first connected, you'll get a dashboard. And then on the reports screen, I've got probably more bundles than most people would have. But the idea with a bundle is that you can put as many reports into it as you want, but it should be for one audience. And then you just change whatever date you're running it for and go run bundle, and that's there. When you're first starting out, and I'll show you this before I go and show you what the actual reports look like, creating your first bundle or creating a bundle anytime is really quick and simple. So if you've just connected to the accounting system, you can select the Small Business Management Reports kit, select your company file, whichever one it is, if you've got more than one. Even if you haven't set a budget yet, we create an auto budget based on last year's actuals, and you can create a bundle from that. So before you go out and have that first conversation with your client, you can create a bundle of reports for them quickly and easily with fairly minimal effort, and then use that to start that conversation. So the type of stuff you get in the report bundle, if I just scroll up to the top of this one. So there's a cover page, and there's a full document editor there that's got all the sort of styles and formatting that you'd have in Word. You can put your logo on it. You could put your client's logo on it. You can put a page of commentary if that's relevant. Again, depends on your relationship with the client and how that works. And here's a sample of some of the different reports that we've got, just to give you an idea of what we can do. So the cash flow forecast is showing the predicted bank balance month by month for the next 12 months. And this one's looking nice and healthy. It's a steady increase, but even there's a question, why have you got this much money sitting in the bank doing nothing? Should you be investing it somewhere? Should you be paying off the mortgage? Should you be doing something with it? Even a healthy cash flow forecast can prompt questions that will make your client think about what's happening with the business, and is it a waste having that money sitting in the bank? The bars here show the different components. So green is income, blue's expenses, there's a little bit of yellow cost of sales in this one, and red is liabilities. Now you can get that same information with numbers, because while some people like pictures, some people like numbers. And excuse me. So the bank at beginning is the closing balance of the bank account from the accounting system previous month. And then we've got income coming in, cost of sales and expenses going out. And our default method of calculating the timing of payment and receipts is to look at the average debtor days and average creditor days in the accounting file. And from that, we do some analysis to estimate what gets paid or received this month, next month, following month, etc. And we refresh that calculation every time you refresh the data from the accounting file. So it's working on how we're paying things, how we're collecting things now, not just the terms, but what's actually happening. So it gives you a reasonably accurate prediction of what's going to be happening. And then I've got no asset movements in this one, but I've lost my GST as well. Oh yeah, no, GST is on that line there, sorry. So I've got my GST on a February, May, August, November schedule. So we have preset schedules to cover all the common options for Australia and New Zealand. PAYG I've got on the same schedule. My super I've got on January, April, June and October for people who pay the June quarter to get the tax deduction before the end of the year, or there is a standard July option there as well. And then we get the bank at the end. So it's not rocket science. The main ingredients you need for a cash flow forecast is do the profit and loss budget, and then do the balance sheet budget. And again, as I said earlier, we calculate the difficult ones there. So we calculate the bank, debtors, creditors, taxes. So you just need to worry about, are you buying a new motor vehicle in February? Have you got some loan repayments to put in? That sort of thing. Actuals compared to budget and last year. So this one shows actuals, budget and variance for the month, year to date, same month last year, year to date last year. So you can measure performance both against the budget that we've set and against what happened last year. And again, those things will raise questions with the client. We set a budget of 144,000, we've only achieved 74. Why is that? Was that budget unrealistic? Because last year we only achieved 77,000 and, we didn't even manage that this year. But it's about asking those questions to help the client think about what's happening in the business. And with this report, I've actually condensed my list of expenses using a feature we've got called account trees, which I'll show you in a minute, where you can create new header accounts within Calxa independently of the chart of accounts. So you can summarize things so your client doesn't get lost in the detail. You can put KPIs on the bottom of some of the reports. So these are 4 of our standard KPIs. In Calxa Express, you've got just the standard ones. In Calxa Premier, you've got the your own custom ones as well. And I've run this report at the organization level, but you could also run it at a cost center level within the organization. So if you're doing tracking categories in Xero, you could do it, by department or project or whatever, or a group of projects, or you can do it for multiple organizations consolidated. And that goes for most of our reports. Profit and loss forecast, actuals year to date, budget for the rest of the year, projected total of where we're going to be at the end of the year compared to the full year budget. And again, income, cost of sales, expenses. And I didn't summarize my expenses on this one. I've got all the detail ones. And operating profit, net profit, and then KPIs on the bottom. I like this one for KPIs because you can watch the trends, and see what's happening and what's changing. Where did our money go? We designed this report to help non-accountants understand the relationship between net profit and bank movement. And in this case, I made a profit of $8,000, and actually my bank's improved by $19,000. But why is that? Because I haven't paid my super, I've taken out a loan, I haven't paid my PAYG or my GST, and I've dumped some money into a short-term investment account. So it's a simple report that's just showing the balance sheet movements that have happened in that period, but isolating it in a way that helps the non-accountant understand, what we spent the money on, where we funded the business from. And I was looking at one of his in Perth with one of our clients the other week, and we had a big green segment like that, and it was drawings. Yeah, that's where the money went. And that's, as I'm sure you're aware, typical with a small business. The net worth chart, total assets, total liabilities, and the black line is the net equity, actuals year to date, budget for the rest of the year. So you can see how those are moving, what's increasing, what's decreasing, and what the plans are for the rest of the year. And that's a typical sort of set of reports, and that's what's in that bundle kit, the small business management report bundle kit. You can export that to PDF, to Excel, rich text, HTML. You can print it if you still print things, but that's typically what a bundle of reports looks like. And as I said, I would start with that with my client. Even if they haven't got a budget yet, they're not sure what reports they want, start with that one, sit down and talk to them, and they say, love the cash flow forecast chart, don't like the one with numbers, just disable that one, or you can just remove it from the bundle. Take out the ones they don't want, and then go to the full report builder and choose some other stuff that they do want. So like I said, there's 120 different reports here, but you can narrow that down. I want something that's shows profit and loss and a line chart. So let's do cumulative actuals to budget. Yeah. So let's start that from beginning of financial year. So this one starts at the beginning of the financial year, uses actuals up to the current month, and it's showing the black line is the year-to-date budget, the bars are the year-to-date actuals, and then I can make choices here about what I want on the report. Which company do I want it for? Within the company, which projects or departments do I want it for? And I get a lot of flexibility. You can create lists of those. So you just, I've got Bob's departments here. These 4 departments are the ones that Bob looks after. And then I've set that to be a consolidated report for those 4 departments. Or I could do detail, I could do consolidated and detail, and I can have as many different lists as I want there. So you've got choices about how you run these reports. Which version of the budget do I want? The current forecast, the copy of it, the initial budget, date ranges, and then I'm showing all expenses here at the moment, but maybe I just want cost of sales, or maybe I just want wages, and I can just search for wages here and select wages and salaries. Don't need the reporting criteria. Refresh the report, and that shows me my wages to budget. And the idea is that once I'm happy with that, I then go add to bundle, put it into a bundle, and let's put it into client number 1 report. And then we'll call this wages year to date to budget. Make that the title of the report. It adds it into the bundle, puts it down the bottom here, and I can just oops, drag that up to whatever position I want in that bundle. Let's put it up near the top. And then I've done all that settings. I had all those choices about what I wanted, but I never have to go in there again. I can go to configure report if I want, but normally I just change the date. I'm doing it for November rather than October, and I go run bundle, or it's scheduled in a workflow. So the work is in figuring out what's the right reports for each client, what's the most appropriate ones. And you can, and probably in your first 2 or 3 months with a particular client, there'll be a bit of backwards and forwards. I like this one, I don't like this one. Have you got one that does this? Have you got one that does that? And then you add and remove things from their bundle of reports as appropriate. But you give them information that's going to give them insights into their business, so you can have that discussion about what's happening. And it's easy for you each month to just produce those reports, deliver to them to the client. So we give you choice and flexibility, but we try and then make it easy ongoing. Once you've made those choices, you don't have to remember all the details. It's all done for you. I should just quickly show you those workflows. So with the workflows, this one here, for example, does an organization update from my Vic branch, which is a 0 file, and then it sends the bundle of reports called accountant report it actually sends it to mick@calxa.com twice. You can have a whole list of email addresses in there, and then you can have another bundle of reports going somewhere else. And I've got this set to go 5:45 a.m. on the 5th of every month, but you can do daily, weekly, monthly. So easy to set that up. I'll just quickly show you budgets. You can do budgets. If you're doing Express, budgets will just be at the organization level. If you're using Premier and you've got cost centers, then you do the budgets at the cost center level, so the tracking category or class or job, and then the organization level budgets just automatically summarize those. Well, almost automatically. You just tell it to consolidate all the departments, all the projects, or whatever. In terms of creating the budgets, you can import and export from Excel, but we've also got a budget factory wizard there that lets you very quickly create a new budget. So if I just do it at the organization level to keep it simple, base it on actuals for last year, do budgets for 2019 and 2020, put it into the current forecast. And, I can do a 10% increase on income and cost of sales, 5% increase on expenses, do the same next year, or you could do something different next year. And it will show me what the projected profit is. The other option, rather than doing an increase on last year, I can say that should actually be, the cost of sales should be a percentage of income. And that makes the net profit editable. So I can say, I want to make a profit of $150,000 and $250,000 the following year. And it calculates what revenue we need to earn in order to do that. And then I go next. And if I save that, it'll create 2 years worth of budgets for that organization with those changes. So very quick way of drafting a budget and making that happen. And you can have multiple versions of your budget and all sorts of stuff there. So that's the core of what Calxa does. It's about connecting to the accounting system, bringing in bringing budgets from the accounting system if you've got them, otherwise create them in Calxa, and then create a bundle of reports for each audience. We have there is a help option on the side there where you can be able to ticket, which will contact our support team. You can also search for something there, and if I go browse articles, it will take us to the help center. There's a lot of help material there. There's text stuff, there's video stuff, there's recordings of some of our events. We do a Calxa Basics webinar every Thursday morning, and we do some more advanced web chats once a month. We have a customer support team. We're based in Townsville, North Queensland. There's a 1-800 number. We answer the phone when you call. If we have any New Zealand people, there's an 0800 number. And if you go to the main website, that's on there somewhere. If you just go to calxa.com, it'll be on there. Don't know if this, yep, that'll take us there. And somewhere at the bottom of the page, there'll be a, somewhere on, must be on the contact page. And then other than that, there's a 30-day free trial, so you can try it for yourself, see how it works. Don't necessarily believe all the nonsense I tell you. You have to make sure it's going to work for you, going to work for your clients, but you can try it, test it out, ask questions, get help, and we'll be more than happy to help you. But it's about engaging with your customers and keeping them. The more you engage with them, the harder it is for them to replace you with somebody else, because nobody else is going to have that same level of involvement, same level of engagement. How are we going for questions, Sam?
Great, thanks, Mick. Really good presentation. I've got a couple of questions already, and just remind everyone, if you've got questions, now's the perfect time to write them down. So go to the little chat function that you've got and just write down a question, and I will field that to Mick. So we've got a few pricing questions, and
yep.
So that's good. The first one's from Annette, was asking, is it $10 per month for each additional file for both Express and Premiere? And
yes.
Okay, yeah. And with Premiere, would it be after 5 files or?
Yes. Yeah. So with Express, you get one for the first $30 or $39 from next month, and then $10 for each extra one. And with Premiere, 5 are included, and you pay $10 for the 6th one. Okay,
great. And Vicky's also asked here, does that $10 per month go up in January as well for the additional?
No. We're leaving the $10 a month as it is.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? Let's write them down now. That'd be perfect. And
if anybody's got lots of clients, we do have a Premiere 50 and a Premiere 200 option for those who want to use it for 50 clients or 200 clients. And obviously that gets better value per client the more you do. But start simple. And there's no minimum term on our subscriptions. You can cancel any time, you can upgrade, you can downgrade, you can add organizations, you can remove organizations. We're totally flexible there. It's you're in control. You know, if it's not giving you value, cancel. If you're working with 6 clients and one of them closes up shop and you only need 5, then just reduce your subscription by 1. Just there's no minimum terms with anything there.
Awesome. It's good to have that flexibility. Maybe I'll field you a question too in the meantime. What the top industries that you guys get that you think people love Calxa for? Like, what would the top 3 industries be, do you think?
The one that we do more than any other is not-for-profit organizations.
Yeah.
Because they have to do reporting. it's compulsory for them to do reporting to boards, to grant providers, etc. Within businesses, there is no top list. And I've I've tried identifying one, but it's just such a diverse range of industries. You know, I mean, the ones who are using Calxa on their own tend to be the sort of bigger industries that have got an in-house bookkeeper or accountant, or you know, or a fairly switched on business owner. The smaller businesses will tend to use bookkeepers like yourselves to do the reporting for them externally.
Yep. No, that makes sense. So it's probably also a bit larger businesses that really leverage this.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
You know, I mean, if you're a, you know, if you're a sole trader electrician, and you're the only one working in the business and you've got no staff, you've got a pretty good idea of what's happening in the business anyway. You know, you make your own appointments, you send out your own invoices, and then, you know, the bookkeeper puts it all together. But you can do a cash flow forecast on the back of an envelope in that scenario.
Yeah.
So, you know, so it's probably the slightly bigger businesses than that. You know, the ones who've got employees that will find it useful. Anywhere you start getting that separation of ownership and management, it's important, because the owner wants to know what's happening with the managers. And you know, I think anytime when you get up sort of past 4 or 5 employees, you know, it becomes difficult to keep your fingers on everything that's happening in the business. But you know, that will vary a little bit depending on the complexity of the business, more than the size sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. We've got another one from Annette here to do with integrations. So obviously you guys integrate with the main software companies, which is great.
Yep.
What about if there's another external software that they want to integrate to, like a POS system or something? Is there a way of integrating to other software, or?
No, it has to come through the one of those accounting systems. I mean, we have had some bookkeepers and accountants that we deal with where they've got someone who's using an industry specific accounting system or something that we don't integrate with, and what they'll do then is create something like a zero cash book file, put in an opening balance, and then put a journal in there each month for the trial balance movements out of the other system, and then connect Calxa to that.
Okay. Yeah.
If that was the only business you were doing, I'd say it's probably not worth the effort. But if you're using Calxa for a bunch of other clients, and you're familiar with Calxa and you know how it works and you like how it works, then that method of creating, the extra zero cash book file and importing a journal into it gives you the Calxa reports that you're familiar with and you know how to work with, and it's a lot easier than doing it in a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
yeah. So that, that'll work for some people, but not everybody.
Perfect. Okay, Vicky, I think that answers your question as well. So mainly designed to feed through the main accounting systems. So if the client's not using one of those, either setting up a cash book or probably just leaving it as is, unless you've got a few others on Calxa and want to keep it all under the one banner. Cool. Okay, do we have any other questions before we wrap up with Mick today? If anyone also has any other questions, what's the best email address to contact you guys again on, Mick? Did you say for support or queries?
Yeah. I'll give you my email address directly. It's mick@calxa.com.
I'll put it in the chat for them.
Yeah. Okay.
.com. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy if you want to email me directly, and if your question's too hard, I might get one of the support team to answer it.
Perfect. Great. Well, really appreciative of you coming along today, Mick, and presenting Calxa to our audience here and members for the AAT. We're going to record this, as we said, so this will be uploaded to the website, guys. And today is the last Tech Talk for the year, so thanks for joining this year so far, and we'll be back probably January, February with another Tech Talk. Thanks again, Mick, and thanks everyone for coming along.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, everybody, and have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.